So let's go back to your book now. Let's talk about, this is like quite a unique concept. I haven't heard of a book written like this before, where you've got like, sometimes there's like the one author and then there's a couple guys that like do like the foreword. So there's three authors on the front or whatever. But this is not that. I think you have 8 different people that have each written a section of the book. Tell us about how that came about.
Yeah. And I guess Scott is my high school friend who ended up we did like nonprofit work together, and then he did his own startup, Espresso, which is a great up and coming Aussie company. And we like have always been interested in education, from starting to do our own very self-directed projects, like things we're choosing for ourselves to do. And we just found, wow, we learned so much. There are great places to learn. You get a lot. We both went to uni. He loved uni. I didn't have the best time, but you undoubtedly still learn things. But I think the most effective ways to learn, especially in this day and age where you can create things more easily than ever before, is projects and picking your own challenges to do. And I guess our mission together is to try and help catalyze that approach to education and making it more accessible. Because there's a lot of pieces to pull together, but it's logistically easier. So it's not packaged up for people is the problem. Like your podcast, you have to decide to do it. Then you have to find the guests. You have to figure out how to do it. And you just start. You're right. So how do you package it up, make it easier? That was the inspiration for the book. So we cared about education. We'll theme the book around like something useful for young people when they're leaving high school, because that's like a pretty big social problem. But yeah, we wanted to make it a learning experience for us and the co-authors. And I wanted to learn myself. It's the first book I've published and will be self-published. And I wanted to learn, like, all right, how do I do this self-publishing thing? What's involved? I really didn't know. I'd been writing stuff for ages. And I was like, this is good for me too.
Yeah.
And we just found basically friends, literally just people we knew who we thought, they'd be interested in doing this. People who are just intentional, all young people, all young Australians. Like if I'd known you a year ago, I might have asked you, for example, maybe in the future. So it was literally like that, just like showing like, really anyone can do it. And then 18 and Lost. So it's about obviously that awkward journey after leaving high school. Most people have a lot of challenges or things to think about and process, even if you get through it unscathed. But it seems like everyone goes through a bit of something at that time. And kind of big problem we are not very good at ferrying people across from the high school environment to like the rest of the world they're in. We really let them swim across a very choppy waters and just see who survives. It's just not the kind of the world I want to live in.
No. Yeah.
So that's probably the broader ambition is, all right, what's good for that? Sharing people's stories, like 8 very different people. And there's a surprise 9th as well. All those different stories and getting them shared gives you like, oh, wow, that's what it was like for those people, because you can't summarize everyone's experience. There's no one experience or one way of doing things, but by giving 8 or 9 different examples, we thought that can help. Maybe it'll resonate with someone. Like one of those stories will resonate.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I felt that way too, for example. And it's not just me, because we don't talk about things like that in depth very often. So I wrote about leaving high school, my struggles at university, not really pursuing the things I was actually interested in, but trying to take a safe road and how that felt. And I called it like 6 out of 10 life. Like not so bad that you make a change, but not so good that you're enjoying things. You're just really right in the middle. And and to be honest, like a lot of my family and friends wouldn't know that stuff until they read it.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't really come up.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing. That's why we wanted to take a storytelling approach. But yeah, ultimately, like the concept was pretty cool. We're pretty proud of it because it was like we gave everyone like 5 weeks to write their chapter. And that created the accountability to get through writing a book. So we reduced the workload because you just got to deliver 1 chapter. It was their stories, which for most people is pretty intimidating. I think the group really helps with the follow through, because like when you got to do things and other people are relying on you, it creates way more incentive. If it's just me on my own, if I don't do this, no one's going to mind, as books often are. And yeah, I believe the writing, very proud of everyone's chapters. So it's one of the things I care about a lot is helping more people learn what they're capable of through writing. book's a good one because it's very tangible. I did this and I became an author. So it's a really great journey to go on. And I encourage as many kind of, especially young people, to take up that challenge and we're trying to facilitate it in our work too, like more people doing this sort of stuff.
For sure. So with the book, were there any key themes between people leaving high school, leaving uni, whatever it is? Because obviously, yeah, like you said, it's a very choppy time, right? Leaving high school, you've got to pick one thing to do, which is like, almost everyone is like, I've got no idea. What are some key themes from the book and even common problems that people had, and how did they go about dealing with those?
Yeah, great question. Towards the conclusion, I unpack the 5 big ones I noticed, but I also I'd love to hear, like, when people read it, what things they picked up that I didn't pick up. But one of the key things was that the people who are not super true to like maybe their intuition, this is what I feel like I should be doing, like what their real interests are at that time and things like that. The authors that didn't follow those kind of key interests looked like they struggled a bit, like really like an emotional, somewhat psychological level. For example, me, wanted to be a filmmaker, ended up studying psychology, didn't do much film because I was like, just lacked confidence and didn't know how to go be proactive about getting experience and lots of reasons. And I didn't feel great at that time because there's a gap between what I felt like I should be doing and what I was actually doing with my time. So when that happens, you kind of like, it's normally you don't feel great. Whereas say someone like Scott, whose story in there, the best thing for him, he realized, was probably to start with engineering. And he really made that choice himself. Whereas I was looking for a safer path. So that there's kind of some of the stories fall into a bit more like Scott's, where they chose their way, and some were a bit like mine, where this is what I think I should be doing.
Yeah.
Not what do I really want to do. And this is not even the top thing I'd pick to do. Or I picked it for the wrong reason. Like I picked it for an extrinsically motivated reason, which is a motivation comes from outside. It'll impress everyone. If I'm if I'm an engineer or I'm a psychologist, I'll make a lot of money. That's extrinsic, like a reward that comes from outside. Whereas intrinsic is, I'm so into like psychology.
Yeah.
Or I'm so into engineering. Or I love the people I'm meeting doing this. That's much more kind of intrinsically derived. So that was probably like the biggest takeaway. And then I think what other themes? Well, the other one, the best one, is no one predicted what they'd be doing.
Yeah.
By the time they were sitting down writing the book.
Yeah. Wow.
And that includes Jordan was our oldest author. He was 27, and he's got a chart. He drew a nice graphic in the book about all the different things he's done. The guy's had the most diverse career of any person I've ever seen ever. So he definitely didn't predict what he'd be doing. And even Gabby, who's our youngest author, I think she intended to go on a gap year last year, but COVID. So started studying law and then didn't anticipate becoming author of a book at 18. So the unpredictability of it is nuts too. Like I didn't predict I'd end up trying to do entrepreneurial projects. I left school wanting to be a filmmaker. So no one actually had the clear idea. It's kind of like the big lie. Like you're picking something thinking, this is my path. And it's unlikely to be your path because most people take some sort of pivot. And that's probably the healthy thing if you take a pivot, because it means you're discovering things. That's good. Like you're not growing if you're not discovering things you didn't anticipate. If you can see everything ahead, and that's when we learn, that's the age I'm going to get promotion, and that's that, like completely linear and no surprises. Like it feels safe, but it's not really what you want. It's what you think you want. And so actually like not knowing is a bit healthier, but feeling comfortable not knowing is the challenge. Whereas the people who are like dead set, like lasered in, I'm just going to do that. And that's all. Like I'm going to be a doctor or I'm going to be a whatever. Like they might end up doing it, but I just think you should always have your eyes open to other stuff because you'll learn and you can always keep doing whatever, being a doctor or being a lawyer or being a builder or whatever it is. But discovering new things within that is really what makes it a journey, makes it exciting. And so the other pattern is probably everyone comes out, like you said, thinking, what do I want to do? And having some anxiety over that. And it's because I guess we put them in an environment where we make them feel like they should know.
Mm.
That's what our culture is now. Everyone is made to think that they should know. That's actually the problem. Knowing is not actually the problem, in my opinion. It's feeling like you think you should know, which is a bit of a mouthful, is like actually most concerning. And to bring this full circle, I couldn't tell you 1 year from now what ventures I'll be involved in, where I'll be at, how much money I'll have in the bank, or any of that. I can't predict it. All the things I'm doing have such open loops. There's so much that could happen.
Mm.
Some, I don't know, maybe the Prime Minister will read the book
Yeah.
and say, I want you to do this program, or I don't know.
Mm.
I know, but I don't like, or it could be negative things. It could be like, I don't know, all the business stuff, I know crashes and I don't know, but I'm not really worried about it because I guess I've had enough experiences that have taught me that the worst things that can happen, you can't learn so much from, and life is actually pretty simple at the end of the day. So everything we try and all the achievements we go for are just like scoring an extra goal, but you're already ahead. It's my philosophy. And so like, there's actually not much to be that worried about because I guess I feel very like satisfied with who I am and how I treat people, and trying to remember that's actually the most important thing, not like where I'm at by 26 or 27 or any of those things, all that kind of nonsense. It makes it just okay. Makes whatever happens to be pretty okay, like in the long run. And so that's the difference between someone who's maybe 18 right now and thinking, shit, what am I going to do with my life? Or finishing uni going, shit, what am I going to do with my life? And I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I don't have any more certainty than they do.
Mm.
Yeah. Is the point.
Yeah. That's really cool. And I think I like what you're saying there because I think there's like distinction almost between having like your eyes open and like kind of the light in your head or whatever switched on, and like you're like seeing things and you're discovering stuff, and even if that is just in your job or wherever you are in uni, seeing what's out there and going and exploring rather than just, this is what I'm doing. That's it. Like, and just close up to all possibility. Because I think that the world's open and ready to be discovered almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's much more fun and it makes it much more interesting when you can go out there and try stuff and you have some passions and interests. Yeah.
Definitely. It's probably a bit different as well, like the generations. So say our parents' age, it's just much more different. But we got a cultural hangover. It's not necessarily worse. In a lot of instances, they had less choices, maybe. Definitely less choices on average. And so it's just pick a pathway. If I can go to uni, that's pretty good because that's what normally is going to get you a good job. And so that makes sense. Now it's so different. The uni stuff is still there, but then you got 500 million other things that like can be done, and the internet changes like what your capabilities are, but there's like a fraction of the awareness there should be about that. And you know, and also because of like the way the future is changing, everything like that, technology and AI and all those scary buzzwords that are in all the how all your jobs are going away and all that, which change, like things will change and adapt. I don't think I think people will be able to adapt. So I just think that there's a real opportunity now to approach it as a discovery period, not like a feel successful and safe as quickly as possible period, because that is constraining, which I don't find that healthy. And there's definitely like a broader set of possibilities, but obviously that can be intimidating. That can be overwhelming. And so it's not like, it's hard to come up with a linear Seth's endorsement, you know, that he wrote this blurb on the back of the book. I'll read it to you. The big lie is that people have figured out their future. In this powerful and honest book, you'll discover that it's a journey, not a plan, and that you can lean into the possibilities that lie ahead. I just think that's just so well put. Like, that's a great quote on its own, irrespective of the book. It's a journey, not a plan. Like at the end of the day, I always say, like, when I look back, I measure like my quality of life in stories.
Yeah.
Obviously, not money, because in the end, there'll be an end. I don't know when. And I won't be counting like how many dollars I've got in the bank or things like that. But what really is like the best currency is just having all these stories and all this cool shit that you look back and did. And obviously having enough money to eat and do stuff and reinvest into other things, it's like pretty good too along the way. It's part of that picture. And so I'm writing a book, which is my life, but just forwards.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Like a story's got to be interesting.
yeah, yeah. No, that's so cool.